hello, pretty girl alumni. Welcome to the lesson. Class is in session. Please grab a seat, grab something to eat, grab some tea, anything to keep you company. Whew. Today's lesson is about why child-free and successful women are such a threat, especially if they are pretty. Okay, so I've been seeing a rise in a lot of incel content and incel content has never really gone away. I think it's just evolved. I think in the early 2000s, it was more so just praising hookup culture and just trying to manipulate women into thinking that being objectified is a compliment or it's something that you should aspire for. But I think that era did bring a lot of valuable lesson. It brought a lot of freedom in women's sexuality and expressing their sexuality. But I think there's been a shift in women's expectation and social dynamics. We see a lot of women penetrating the workforce and not just any work fields. We see them penetrating the highly skilled work positions and we see a lot of women putting their careers first, putting themselves first and what they want. And this is a threat to the patriarchy because now you are going against the status quo. You are challenging the place that you were given from birth. You were already assigned a place, okay? And now they're saying, okay, you can help us out in the economy, but still know your place. Your ultimate goal is to be a wife and is to be a childbearer. And women are looking at this and they're looking at the men they're supposed to be serving, quote unquote, and having risking their lives for. Can we actually talk about how crazy it is that we expect women to give birth, no matter how dangerous it can be, no matter the social economic situation in that place? I've noticed that impoverished areas, women from impoverished areas, or women who come from impoverished places give birth to a lot more children. And that also is just a lack of education, lack of sex education, not knowing exactly how to, prevent yourself from being pregnant, or lack of resources to stop yourself from being pregnant. But let's talk about why, if you are challenging the status quo, why is that such a threat? Well, because number one, society uses you as a reward system for men, okay? Yes, pretty girls get put on a pedestal, but it's not for us. It's not for our embetterment. It's not for our, well-being. It's to be a reward for the men so that the cycle continues. If you can convince people that being in the system and operating under capitalism and under patriarchy is worth it because at the end of the day, you get to live a happily ever after. You get to live happily ever after with your 100K salary, with your drop dead gorgeous model wife who is going to be doing all the house chores and taking care of all the kids. And then you also have a legacy of children that you get to leave behind, all free of charge. You don't have to take care of them. You can leave the woman to take care of them. That's what they're for because you're going to be making the money. So now we are starting to challenge this dynamic, this hierarchy, where basically they say to women, be beautiful, attract the man, and marry, and then have children, and then devote your life to your children and your husband and his family. Let me tell you why this is such a scam. Not that anyone needs to be told, because you can just open TikTok and just see the thousands of women who are posting telling women, don't have children. It is not worth it. Even women in healthy relationships. I remember I came across this video where this mother with a newborn, or this new mother, was holding her child and she was explaining how hard it is to be a mother, even with a supportive husband, even with a good, quote unquote, good man. And it was just so crazy to me because, first of all, I don't believe that giving birth will never not be the mother's responsibility, right? Your body takes such a huge toll, and then on top of that, you have this kick of adrenaline because you just got a newborn. Your maternal instincts are still fresh, they're still new. You want to make sure that your child is okay. No one's going to feel that deeper than the mother. A lot of people don't trust other people in their child's care, and that's understandable. Look at the world we are living in. So it does end up becoming the mother's responsibility, whether she likes it or not, or whether society likes to admit it or not. And I'm just curious as to why society wants to trap women in these positions. I've seen so many women, motherhood isn't for everyone, okay? And as a future psychologist and studying human brains, abuse happens because a lot of parents do not want or cannot afford to be parents. They are trapped in this role of parenthood, and it's a huge responsibility, and actually they don't actually tell women the truth, and men. I do believe that they lie to men as well, but they don't actually tell women the truth. They're a little bit more honest to men than women, but you get trapped in that role. And I'm sorry, but for me personally, having a child is not something that I aspire to have. I have made it clear to myself that I do not need a child. The world is already overpopulated, number one. Number two, I do not believe that giving birth is a gift. I actually do believe that when you give birth to someone, you are cursing them to live a life of unpredictability and uncertainty. This world is very uncertain, it's very cruel, and I'm not going to bring a human being into that concoction. There's no need. There is no need. I feel like I would be doing my future children a service by not bringing them into this world because I don't care how good of a parent you are. You cannot protect your children 24/7. They have to go out into the world and you don't know what's going to happen to them. Next thing you know, your child's coming back with depression. You don't know what happened. You don't know how to fix that. It is a lifelong commitment. Many people's children don't grow up to be successful and they do end up needing to be taken care by their parents for the till you've heard stories of those men who are living in their mother's basements in at the age of 33. It's not like a rare sight to see. I have seen many people who are living with their parents at old age, and I'm just like, why do you want us to have children when people can barely take care of themselves? And then to add this whole financial strain onto people, because it's not only the rich people who are having children, it's not only the emotionally stable people who are having children, anyone is having children. And I've actually noticed that the smart people and the people who are working on themselves and the healthier options for parenthood, they opt out of parenthood because they know better. And this is why I say it's not enough to be told you're going to be a good mother. It's not enough. So, for all those women who feel like there's something wrong with them, or society tries to make you feel like there's something wrong with you because you don't want to have children, you don't want to settle down and be this family like dynamic that they push onto everyone. Not everyone wants that. People love their freedom, believe it or not. Um, and people get threatened by women who go, I don't need a man and I don't want children. People are like, well, that's all. Society is like, well, that's all we have to give you as a reward for participating in patriarchy. Let's see what happens when you don't participate in patriarchy. You get a career, you get content, you are able to have the freedom to explore what you want, what you need. I highly doubt that I would be as productive as I am or as content as I am because I work online so I can work when I want. I can cook when I want because my boyfriend does not make me play into the roles of like housewife. You have to cook every night. He cooks for me, he cleans the house. We have someone who cleans the house for us every week. So I get to be me. I get to go to college. I get to go for my runs. I get to go to the gym. I can sit at the cafe for the whole day if I wanted to, and no one would say anything about it. I would go home and my boyfriend would be like, "Oh, did you enjoy your time at the cafe?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I did." Didn't do anything, just sat there and watched movies or watched videos or wrote. I'm a writer, so I like writing different sections of my novel. Um, I would not be able to do that if I had a kid, even if I had nannies, even if I had people taking care of my children. First of all, let's talk about how people try to shame women for not being quote unquote good mothers. And then they also try to shame them for being too good a mother. You can't win. You can't win. The only reason why, I'll tell you right now, the only reason why people want women to have children is that they can police them better. The policing of women is more justified when there's a child involved, because think of the child. How can you be on social media twerking your butt cheeks when you have children at home? How can you wear that when you're a mother? How can you go out all night partying when you're a mother? You can't say that to a single lady. Well, you can, but it doesn't land as hard. And so many brainwashed women actually believe this, and they're like, oh my God, motherhood is not a handicap. It is not a handicap. It does not mean that you need to now become this bland, plain bred version of yourself where you don't have fun, you don't have a personality. Everything you do is just for the kids and for the house. No. And this is why it actually makes people so mad, because they can't police you as much as when you're a mother. When you're a mother, you have certain social expectations. And some of them are valid. You can't leave your children, you can't neglect your children and go out. So a lot of people, they put pressure of motherhood onto people who don't even know that they don't want to be mothers until they become mothers. And then it's like, now the child's here, and then they pressure women to be attentive mothers. They pressure women to be present figures. And some women just don't want or can't do that. Like, if you think of women who have been through a lot of trauma, some people are emotionally inequipped to be parents. And that is why I personally believe that there should be more protocols, because I feel like a lot of the world's issues is just because anyone is having children and then traumatizing the new batch of adults, and then we're sending like a whole bunch of traumatized, angry people into the world, and then we wonder why we have so much violence and so much anger. So, this is why I say I am heavily supportive of the new child-free movement. Not just because of protection for people who might be abused by people who don't want to be parents, but also just because it gives a woman agency. It gives you a sense of power over your body. Um, you don't need validation. When you're an older woman especially, and you have stuck to your instincts to not have children. And then they come with the insults. They come with the cat lady insults. How creative. Like, being a cat lady is a bad thing. I will never understand, because women are just so above men that even the insults are directed towards men. Like, think about it. They call you, they say, oh, you're a cat lady, but that only means that you are comfortable choosing being single than being with a bad partner. That's why you're a cat lady. You rather devote your time to helpless animals and little pets because you've recognized that the men don't deserve that. So what are you? You set boundaries. You're okay being single. That's not an insult. Same thing with daddy issues. They say, oh, daddy issues. But who failed to be a dad? Hmm? It's like it's so ironic to me, because it's like you try to insult women and you try to pressure them into playing these fake roles, or these unnecessary roles because that's we don't need more children. We don't need more people. There are 8 billion. We are overpopulated as it is. The only thing they want is to control you because when you have children, it is harder. It is harder to move around as a woman in society. It is harder to leave an abusive arrangement if you have children with that person. It is harder to take care of yourself if you have children, right? And this is what they hate is that they hate that they can't control you. And also, women who choose to focus on their career and not have children, they gain a lot more independence and a lot more power. And so they raise their standards. They end up becoming what society tells men to become. They become headstrong, they become decisive, they become leaders, they become aspirational. They become what society tells men to become. And then they also become an inspiration for other women. Other women are like, oh, wait, there are actually more career paths for me than just having children and getting married. And this is why I love a lot of the celebrities that we see. Um, a lot of them will wait until they have reached the peak of their career to settle down and have children. And I like that because you're showing women that you can do it all because society tries to convince you that you can't. Having children isn't the problem, it's how restrictive society tries to become once you do and the lies and the propaganda that they spill saying, oh, well, you're a bad mother if you have a career and you have children. I think you're a phenomenal mother. Not only are you teaching your children that you can do it all, you are probably a big inspiration to your daughters. Not only are you teaching them that you can do it all and you can be both and you don't have to compromise on your dreams, but you're also giving them something to aspire to. Because I truly believe that a lot of people aren't good people, not because they want to be, but they didn't have good role models. A lot of people just regurgitate what they've seen. A lot of people's parents were not in stable places, mentally, financially. So they adopted those habits, those traits, like our parents are our first teachers. Even if they're absent, then if it's someone who is dealing with an absent parent, even if you're not there physically, you still have an effect on your children. You're going to teach them to have abandonment issues or um, be detached, have detached what's that type of attachment style? Devoid attachment. I think that's what it's called. Please, I haven't looked at my textbooks for a while, but um, devoid an attachment. And you're going to teach your children that it's not okay to love someone or be close to someone, and they're not going to be able to form close, intimate bonds with people that they should be forming close, intimate bonds with. You're stunting children's growth when you have children and you're not ready to have children. And there's no rush. Like, what is this thing with hitting the wall? There's this new red pill term. The red pill space is purely for entertainment. As a scholar, I look at it and I'm like, imagine this as a scientific thesis that's being presented to a room of lecturers to teach this to children. Like, why would this even be it's silly. Like a lot of the points are silly and I'm just like there's this new point or term called hitting the wall, and they basically try to convince women that at a certain age you'll be too ugly and too old and too disgusting to get a good partner. You're gonna get all the leftovers, so you better get a man now, even if he's not good enough. Just having a man is enough because you don't want to hit the wall and then you're gonna be a cat lady, I guess, as the timeline of feminists. It's you're gonna hate men, you're gonna try at your career and fail because they're always so condescending when I've noticed a lot of men are very condescending when I tell them I want to be a psychologist. Like my first psychologist was like, I was in second year of university and I was just expressing that, I'm stressed because I'm trying to do well and I'm trying to meet my own high goals. And I was kind of psychoanalyzing myself. And I was like, I'm scared of my own success because of childhood trauma, childhood wounds. Um, I have imposter syndrome. I'm working on it, but it does creep up here and again. And he looks at me and goes, are you sure you really want to be a psychologist? Don't you want to pick a less stressful career? I was like, what? I was like, what? Just because like every psychologist complains about becoming a psychologist, like the practicals, the volunteering, because I volunteer at you know, government hospitals and I go to the psych wards and I help out because they're very, very short-staffed. So I try to do things within my qualifications and I try to shadow the psychiatrists and the psychologists and just try to learn as much as I can, obviously with respecting patient boundaries. And like psychologists go to psychologists themselves because you are taking in a lot of trauma. And I'm basically sidetracking, but what I'm getting to is that people have placed roles on you and expectations, and sometimes they will tell you to fit the mold, not because of malicious intent, but just because they're regurgitating what they've been told. Maybe they themselves have followed the mold and some people are comfortable in misogyny, I guess, and they manage to just settle down and they're like, why do you want to rock the boat? But you're not rocking the boat, you're being you. Just because they suppressed their passions to be a brick in society's collapsing kingdom does not mean that you have to slot yourself right in that doomed position. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna run straight into a trap. I'm literally not gonna walk into a trap, close the door, lock the door behind me, throw away the key, and wait for the kidnapper to come and get. Like, what are we doing? In all seriousness, I truly believe that this hitting the wall talking points is very silly because if you look at how technology is evolving today, we already have ways for older women who are not able to carry, even younger women, who are medical procedures that have been tried and tested and are proved and are practiced currently 100% safe, where women who are not able to carry their own children or are too old to carry their own children, they are able to still have children through artificial insemination, surrogation. Like, there's so many options. So, you're really thinking that in 20 years they're not going to develop even better ways? They might even invent incubators where you can literally create the baby outside of a human body. And then that would be the best option because the women aren't going to be in danger and maybe there would be more control over the pregnancy in terms of what the child consumes. There are so many numbers of fetal alcohol syndrome, children with FAS, that is a syndrome that I studied for my second year in psychology. It's when a pregnant mother consumes, there is a number, there's a limit. It's usually considered overconsumption. So it's not like having one glass of wine throughout your whole pregnancy or like popping champagne at your wedding and maybe you so happen to be pregnant and you did that once in your pregnancy. It's a continuous consumption of alcohol and the alcohol kind of damages the baby's development during the that process of insemination and um, you know transferring the nutrients from the mother because what the mother eats basically goes to the child as well. So there are so many better options. So the concept of quote unquote hitting the wall is just silly to me. And I'm just gonna leave you with my final thoughts. And this is why it's not because you are in the career space. It's not because you're a pretty girl in the career space. That's not the reason why you are a threat, even if you do have children, I will say. But child-free women, that's not the reason. Um, they need you actually in those spaces. They need your patience. They need your guidance. They need your humility. They need your expertise because statistically, women are found to be better leaders. This is across global statistics. I'm not just talking about one control test. This is global statistics cross cross-cultural statistics. So they'll take opposing cultures or cultures that couldn't be more different from each other, like Western and Eastern cultures, and they'll run these um, studies and these questionnaires, and they will find that women-led spaces are the better work quality spaces, right? And this is not to say that no male-led spaces are positive, but this is what the observations have reported. So they need us in those spaces. They need us to balance the one-sidedness of capitalism and patriarchy, which is just exploit, control, dominate. And we prove that we can exist on our own terms. And I'm just talking on a woman scale, on a general scale, not just as a pretty girl, but women who are child-free successful, and beautiful, but doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. If you are child-free and successful, you are a threat because you prove that women can exist on their own terms. You prove that women can have it all. They can love themselves. They can be rich. They can be powerful. They can be taken care of because you can still have good partners, even if you are an independent woman. And you can build a world where you are basically operating outside of patriarchy and you're surviving. And it boggles their minds because they are following patriarchy and a lot of them aren't getting a fraction of what you are getting. They aren't happy. It's always the miserable people who are mad that they are alone in their misery. Misery loves company. This is a well-known saying. This is a well-known quote for a reason. They don't want to be miserable on their own. Even if some people are child free, it does not mean they're happy. There are a lot of child free men who are unhappy with their life. They can't even get a partner to settle down with them. Women do not want them because maybe they are not working on themselves. They're working dead-end jobs or they're not even working. It's crazy to me when men who do not have any qualifications, who do not have any skilled or any valued skill in the workforce, no careers, nothing to their names, no inheritance even, and they get online, they talk about women and they talk about women hitting the wall. That's fine. She hit the wall for you because you're very small-minded. For a evolved man with a career and an intellect above 70, um, she is an ideal partner. She is his equal, or she sees her as something to aspire to. So you are building a world of independence, and they're mad because they are wrong. You are hurting their ego by showing them that I do not need you or I do not need male validation. Because I feel like men who are very patriarchy orientated and very misogynistic are very male validation orientated, themselves included, but because they don't want to like face that, because to them, again, with the small mindedness, they equate they equate um confronting the fact that, oh, maybe I've been socialized to value male validation a little too much. I feel like everyone has to face this once in their lives, right? Instead of saying that, because to them that would be quote unquote gay, because anything is gay now. So silly, but they would rather project that onto women. And once a woman is like, I don't value male validation, so I'm not gonna do anything for it. I'm not gonna um tap dance for male validation. I'm not gonna play this game. I'm just gonna level up, and then I'm gonna beat you at your own game. I'm gonna get the career, I'm gonna get the riches that were promised to you, I'm gonna get me. Because remember, pretty girl, you're also the prize. Remember, you're also the Snow White at the end of the story that the prince gets after he fights the witches and he claims the title and he saves the kingdom. You are part of the story. So you can't just now cut yourself out of the story and be the prince and slay the witch or the dragon on your own. How dare you? You need to play your role. But this is for all my cat ladies out there or future cat ladies. Hey. Me and my boyfriend, hopefully future husband, will be cat people, I guess, because I have told him and he has accepted that we will not be having children. And he is okay with that because he is like, I'm here for you. I'm not here to get a child out of you. And that's what I don't understand. It's just like, are you here for me or are you here for a possibility of having a child? Because that's what it feels like for a lot of people. And a lot of men actually are so shallow and are so sadistic that if they are not in good standing with the mother, they will also abandon the child to hurt the mother some more, or just to, because they're so selfish. And this is why I hate it when people who love themselves and put themselves first get called selfish, or who are self-preservative. That's the word I prefer, are called selfish, because selfish has a negative connotation to it. I don't care what you say, it does. So there are actually things out there that are selfish and that deserve the term selfish. Like, for example, convincing someone to have a baby and then because the relationship didn't work out, abandoning them and also giving them an a lifelong responsibility, literally throwing all this work on them and disappearing and starting a happy life with someone else and doing the exact same thing to them. And this is why you have men running around with like six baby mamas, and that's why I don't take guys with children because I'm like, mm-mm. I do not trust that. I do not trust that at all. But let me know what you think about this topic. Are you child free? Do you get comments of like, oh, you're gonna hit the wall? I promise you that made me laugh because I was like, what is hitting the wall? Like, hitting the wall is having no other option, as if a woman cannot be happy on her own with cute kittens or with her partner. Like, what if she is gay and she doesn't even want children and she's just like, I'm happy with my partner? Or what if she's not gay and she's with a man and she's just like, I'm happy with my, like, why would I want to add a child to this? That is okay. Like, let the couples who want to have children, but don't try to coax people who are also taking choices for their own lives, doing what they want with their own lives. Um, and making them change their minds and forcing them into a huge commitment. You would call someone who did the opposite, like let's say people were barraging women who were trying to have children and who wanted to be mothers, and society or some people were like like berating them and calling them names and being mean to them, you would call those people out. You would say, that is not okay. We need to support our mothers. We need to support the single mothers, even. We need to support women with children. We need to support children. So, why are we doing the opposite for women who don't want to have children, even if it is for good reason? So, that is the topic for today. Let us open our minds, let us be more open-minded, and let us not try to limit women, pretty girls, successful girls, um, child-free girls into a role that they do not want to play. Let them play the roles that they want to play and let them play those roles happily. Why do you want to take them away from happiness? That is sadistic. Find peace within yourself. If you find that you like to control people, you need to work that out with yourself. Too many people are focusing on everyone else except for themselves. You should not be able to focus on anyone else because you should take up all your time. Okay? And if you want to be an internet troll for the rest of your life, go ahead, but that's not a good look and that's not a nice life and that's not going to get you much in the future. Trust me. So I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.